Hey, what's up you guys, it's Connor, and today I'm going to be doing a quick review on The Search, which is the second set of comic books that follow Aang, Avatar: The Last Airbender, after the conclusion of the original TV show. I did a review for the first set of comic books, so I'll leave that up in the card symbol if you want to check it out. But today we're going to be talking about The Search. If you guys have not watched the Avatar TV show, I highly recommend it because it's amazing. We follow Aang and Katara and Sokka and Zuko as they are trying to figure out what happened to Zuko's mother. That was a huge unanswered question in the TV show that a lot of people were curious about because what the heck happened to her? So we finally get those answers in this set of comic books after the original series. I don't want to spoil anything that has to do with that at all, so just know that you do finally get some answers for that, and I was loving it. If you guys don't know, in Avatar, there are 4 different kingdoms. There is the Earth Kingdom, the Air Nomads, the Water Tribes, and the Fire Nation. They all used to live in harmony, but before the beginning of the TV show, the Fire Nation took over the world, and during the course of the TV show, Aang, who was trapped in ice for 100 years, comes back and tries to right everything and separate the different nations and free all of the different people. Some people can control earth, some people control fire, some people control water, some people can control air, but the Avatar can control all 4 elements. With that out of the way, let's just jump into the review. As usual, I'm going to go through my pros, go through my cons, give you my rating, and be done. My first pro for this book is that it did address what happened to Urza, which is Zuko's mother. I had always wondered what happened to her during the TV show, and now that I finally got my answers, I was so happy with that. Let's see if I can find her. There she is, there's Zuko's mom. And I'm glad that the writers of this comic book series went back and addressed those things, but they did it in a way that felt very organic with the story, so it does follow them after the events of the story. There are a couple flashbacks, but the overall story of Aang and his friends is going forward. A pro for this edition, which was a pro for the first review that I did, was that I think that this is the edition that people should get. They have them published as 3 individual issues, but I just think that the library edition is the edition to get. When you go through the different pages and panels, they have notes on the side from the authors and the illustrators that discuss what went into this. So they tell you the different influences that they had while making this comic book. So for instance, this old man right here is the Avatarverse version of Confucius, which I thought was just a really cool fun fact that you wouldn't know unless you had this edition. They look very similar, so you could make that connection, but just the casual Avatar fan would not. They also talk about that the village that Urza is from is a combination of Hawaiian and Japanese elements. Specifically, when a lot of Japanese people moved to Hawaii and there was a blending of different cultures, that's kind of the culture that Urza comes from. So I thought that those were really interesting, and seeing the different elements pointed out in here was fantastic. I will say, however, that this one doesn't have as many notes in it as the series goes along. There's a lot more blank pages, like there's just no notes in here, and I thought that the first set of comic books had a lot more notes in them because they were discussing the different bridges between Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. There are some of those things in here. There still is some bridges between Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, but there just isn't as much, so you're not going to be as satisfied in that regard, but I think that this edition is still worth it for that information on Urza and the different influences from different Asian cultures. For instance, they pull from Japanese and Chinese and Korean cultures, as well as a couple of other ones, like Hawaiian, as I said before. And I think that this one still blends in very well with the original TV show, so you're not going to be thrown off by that at all. Another thing that I really liked was that we get more different spirits that haven't been in the original series, and they explain how they created the different spirits and what influences they brought into that again. For instance, here is one of the new spirits, and you can see all of the text on the side that is explaining how they designed her and what they did with her and why they created this type of spirit in this part of the world. I forgot to mention that the original covers of each issue are in the book. I had people asking me that in my first review, and I wanted to confirm in this one that these are the original issue covers, and they're in the book. So you're gonna have that original artwork as well as all of the notes and just regular artwork. I loved seeing all of the characters again. I just love these characters so much. I really liked that they included Crazy Azula in here. And there are a bunch of other characters that make appearances, and I was loving it. So I really loved the writing and how it blended with the original series. I really liked the artwork and knowing the little tidbits behind the scenes. One last pro that I'll mention is that I really love the message of kind of respecting your family to a point. So Zuko has to deal with the fact that his father is a terrible person and his mother is gone and his sister is crazy. And he doesn't just ignore that they ever existed. They did exist and he has to deal with it. So that was good. Now onto my cons. I honestly could not think of a single con that detracted from my appreciation of this book. I remember saying in my review of The Promise that I wish that there was more, but in this one I felt completely satisfied. I was like, that was such a good amount of story for this issue that they wanted to tackle. And the only con that I could really think of was that I wanted more Toph. There's not any Toph in here, and I wanted more of her. I know that she's doing a lot of things at the city that will become Republic City, but I just wanted her in this because I love Toph. She's one of my favorites. So overall, I had a ton of pros. I had a ton of fun while reading this. I loved getting all of these different answers. I love the characters, and I just love Avatar. I couldn't think of really any cons that detracted from my enjoyment of this, so in the end, I ended up giving this book 5 stars. I freaking loved it. I adore it. I definitely recommend these books for any Avatar fan because it just does such a good job of continuing the story and giving you something that you were wanting your whole life. Yes, definitely recommend this one. So it's going to be my review on Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Search, by a whole slew of people named down here. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and comment down below if you've read the Avatar comic books. Have you read this one specifically? Did you love it as much as I did? Do you know if the comic books continue to be just as amazing? Because now I'm going to be on the lookout for the 3rd bind-up, which I can't even think of the name of right now, but I'm pumped to read it. Anything else you want me to know, leave it down below, and I will talk to you guys next time.